Hello, friends out there in the Ork universe. Remember, with your Amazon Prime subscription, go over to Amazon Video and search for Blue Iron, a joint venture between Blue Iron Productions and Scott Will Killer Productions. A story of motorcycles and cops and Russian mafia and Mexican cartel and all kinds of fun people that would probably kill you should they have the chance. So with your subscription, just go ahead over, search Blue Iron. You got 4 episodes to watch right there. Go ahead and enjoy that. Also, the ScottWillKillYou.com podcast network. It'll be ScottWillKillYou.com. Oh, look, a video just downloaded. Awesome. But already have secured shows, and that will be hitting the interweb very shortly, so keep an eye out for that as well.
And on with the show. And welcome to the U. Our reviews will kill you. The review show that promises not to be a parasite on your questionable lifestyle. And I am the man they know as Z. And as always, I am joined by the crustaceous crustacean, Noob-Noob. Wait, what's that? What?
Quiet.
It's awful quiet.
There's no Noob-Noob?
Peaceful.
Really?
Quiet.
Are you telling me that there's no Noob-Noob here?
It's a Noob-Noob
free show!
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, not the voice.
Which I was going for. Ladies and gentlemen, there's the voice. This is a Noob-Noob free zone. Actually, Noob-Noob is on a vacation.
Or an assignment.
Assignment. I was told this was just a trip, that there was no nefarious reasons for him traveling over the sea.
To spread his Noob-Noob seed?
God forbid we do that.
No,
we don't want to do that.
No.
There's already enough of one of them.
Who needs 2? Good God.
Can't even get rid of the one.
And as you could tell, but I am joined by my other partner, Scott Keebler.
Hey! So I've taken up the mantle, controlling 3 monitors. I'm going to be taking the chair for Noob-Noob as well as my normal duties. So we'll see how this goes because, of course, with the weather changing, so has the sinuses kicked in. So if we sound funny, that's not on purpose. That's Mother Nature saying that the weather is changing and now you have to be sick.
Yes, we live in the lovely Northeast where we have seasons, but those seasons tend to drive
And once
people
again, they
crazy.
changed overnight. It went from 80 to 60 in one day.
With our weather report.
I know.
Weather
So
girl Scott
as you hear
Keebler.
us sipping on our tea.
And drinking our libations.
What are these libations you made for us? These are tasty.
It is a hard cider mixed with Fireball.
Oh, the only time I can drink Fireball.
Yes,
Because other than that, it sucks.
it's kind of like cough syrup on its own. So maybe that's helpful as well, cough syrup.
Cough syrup. Fireball cough syrup. I prefer NyQuil.
So what are we talking about today, Scott?
So on today's episode, Lindsay Lohan joins the UFC. She had a little incident where she decided to get herself punched in the face, so we'll be talking about that. Lady Gaga goes Gotti.
Okay, she's going straight Gotti.
She went
And
Gotti.
not gangster. Not gangster.
So we'll talk about that because she's making some headlines. Has James Gunn left DC?
No, joined DC.
Joined DC.
And left
So has
Marvel.
James Gunn left Marvel to join DC. Has that happened? It probably has. We'll talk about it a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and change gears and review Venom.
Venom, gonna get Venom.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that too. Because, oh, God.
So that means...
So... Let's start out.
The news.
I know. Hold on. I'm already behind on this.
Friends, I have good news for you today.
Lindsay Lohan, who is now over in some other country,
I believe it's Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, where she's now a nightclub owner or something.
Well, I believe she owns a nightclub in Mykonos, which is going to be a reality show at some point, like Lohan's Handsy.
It should be.
Hands on.
It should be a reality show with that freaking psychopath.
It will be.
It looked like Jersey Shore, looked like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
I believe so, yes.
Oh, my God. So she gets on Instagram Live and starts chasing down a family and trying to steal their children.
She's trying to abduct them.
She's trying to abduct their children because
Hey,
in
everyone,
her mind...
I just want to show you a family that I met.
She's a freedom fighter.
Syrian refugee family.
Yes.
They're really
And they're trafficking their children.
I'm going to introduce you to them. And they really need help.
They really need help. So meanwhile, she's on Instagram Live, and she's approaching this family that's
Tell me your
homeless
story
on the side of the
so
street.
I can help you.
There's all these hearts
Huh?
popping up on the
me
thing.
your
People are
story so I can
commenting
help
on
you.
it.
Hold on, she says something
What I
amusing.
tell them? What do you need? What do you need? Wallo? Do you want me to give you a hotel?
So super helpful, right? So she's being
I want
super
you to
helpful.
tell America what you need.
And then she kind of changes gears a little bit here. Let's do some quick scrubbing.
Нет. Нет, не пусть я хочу.
I'm not even sure if she speaks language or she's just mumbling something.
Incoherently.
Let me take them. Let them sleep. Come with me. You and me come.
Yes. Let me take your children.
Just come. Just come with me.
Get into my van.
Not
I
that-
have
not
candies.
yours.
So the mom is
Just
now holding the
you and
kid
your kids.
tightly under a blanket. Not really the
30
kind of behavior
seconds,
you
run.
think that like human traffickers would have.
Tech. You shouldn't be sleeping on the floor. Okay?
On the
Sleep
ground,
on the floor of my
outside.
van.
Do you understand that?
Oh, there's
shouldn't be
hearts like
sleeping on the
crazy
floor.
popping up. People are loving this.
But you're a good little.
So then, because she can't just steal children, which in her mind that seems like a perfectly logical thing to do, she gets to get aggressive.
They're trafficking children. Mashallah. I won't leave until I take you.
At this point, she's
I won't
following
leave.
them down the street. They've
Now
got
I
up
know
and
who you
walked
are.
away. Still, heart's going like crazy.
Don't fuck with me.
Don't fuck with me, she says.
Hey, kids. Wallash. This is the Arab. This is not Arab. You're ruining Arab culture by doing this. Mashallah, wallah.
Yes, this one family is ruining an entire culture.
This is
So
insanity.
finally, it gets to the point that, of course, the mother has had enough.
Oh.
She goes up and she grabs the kid.
Don't.
That was the sound of Lindsay Lohan hitting the floor.
Oh.
Or as the rest of the world calls it, the concrete.
Some people would call that the scream of justice.
That was a screen of Lindsay Lohan hitting the floor.
I don't think
Now-
she's qualified to grab children.
And I'm just like so scared.
She's so scared.
I literally can't.
Even.
I can't
I
even.
don't think I can ever change.
She can never stop abducting children. Maybe.
Lindsay Lohan, you are going to change the world. I am so proud of you. Change the world, Lindsay Lohan. Abduct all the children you can. I can't even. As if she's surprised at the reaction of a family who she was trying to steal children from.
Yes.
Because that
don't,
makes sense.
I don't even understand what the world that was. That was like
What?
insanity times. Like, I've heard of meltdowns, but going to another country, like, hey, we're Americans, right? Don't
Last
go
I checked,
to
yes.
other countries and fuck around. They will kill you. They will beat you. They will imprison you. You are not in America. Don't fuck around. Like, it's just a bad idea, you know? She's going to get herself killed.
Yeah, she really is.
Like, she's 2 steps away from getting killed on the street.
If that was the wrong family, yeah, they would have absolutely killed
Well,
her.
they were refugees, so I'm assuming they didn't have any knives or guns or anything on them. Like,
No, it was just a family on the street, hidden under a blanket, trying to stay warm. And
they get interrupted by this kindly old woman,
Lindsay Lohan is going to be my savior.
and she's got to film the whole thing like a tool.
Hey, guys, come on. Oh, I have whiskey in the van.
I thought she had candy in the van.
Oh, is that what it's like? They like candy. I have whiskey.
Oh yes. So that was a miserable story. That was that's just awful.
So let's change the tune a little bit here, shall we?
Oh, a new tune.
A new tune. This is a nice, lovely little shindig from
ditty?
Lady Gaga, apparently. Let me just fast forward here. All right, fine. Here's Bradley Cooper.
Is that really him?
That's apparently, yeah, it is, because he was gonna have someone voice it, and she's like, "No, you have to sing it,"
Oh.
because she does not care for that. So, I mean, she's a musician.
Oh yeah. She plays piano.
Yeah,
She's a full-fledged
She doesn't
musician.
let people do fucking voiceover and play the tape and shit like that.
Oh, she's a talented artist.
But she's also kind of riding on the crazy train as well, apparently.
Why?
Well, apparently she started
Allegedly.
posting fake reviews
It
for
wasn't her. It was her little monsters did it.
Oh, the Gaga monsters.
Yeah,
what
Gaga
do they call them?
did it.
Gagaites.
She did not go posting.
Gagaites?
She did not go on Rotten
Lady
Tomatoes.
Gaga went on Rotten Tomatoes.
was
So you're
not-
telling me that Lady Gaga went on Rotten Tomatoes personally
Yes.
and posted about a movie we're going to review later, Venom,
To make her movie look better.
to make... Oh, is that what it was? She wanted to
Yes.
make her movie look better, so she slammed Venom.
Yes. Yes. So there's a bunch of fake reviews about Venom.
Oh, I'm gonna come after this bitch later.
So it wasn't her. It was her little monsters were doing it.
Oh,
They
so
were-
it's a little... Is that what she calls them? Her little monsters?
Yes. That's what her people are called.
So her little monsters went after a real monster.
Absolutely. And it apparently did not work. I mean, her...
This is a fight I'll win.
Yeah, Venom against a symbiote versus Lady Gaga. That would definitely be a one-sided fight. So she, it didn't really seem to do. It didn't work. I mean, her movie is a big hit. I'm sure it costs like nothing to make.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and I'll pull that up over here since I'm in the Noob-Noob seat as well.
A Star is Born, featuring Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. One of those movies that we won't review.
What was that movie, whatever, Cinema? Or what was the one that he always uses?
I don't know.
Movie something.
Movies.
Box Office Mojo.
Yeah. They it's the third remake of A Star Is Born.
Yeah,
I believe
I had
that
enough of that.
movie was made back in like the 30s, or the original, and it's been remade 3 times. I think the last time it was remade was in the 70s. And yeah, there we go. A Star Is Born. Can you go back one screen?
Okay. Let's jump back real fast.
Yes. The original Warner Brothers flick was released in, I guess 54. And then there was a remake in 76. And then another one in 2018.
So it's just a story that's been done a few times.
Yes. And it's strange because, it's Bradley Cooper's directorial debut. I think we talked about that before. So good for him. He stars in it too. To me, it struck me originally as the story of Lindsay Buckingham and the gypsy lady from that band.
This is when Lindsay Buckingham was trying to steal the children from the gypsy lady and was posting it live on Facebook.
That band Fleetwood Mac.
Yes. Well, she
steals children.
She was
allegedly?
trying to steal children because she assumed that they were trafficking. Oh wait, that was the last story. Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm getting confused here.
So yeah, we're not going to talk that much more about A Star Is Born and Lady Gaga, other than they were trying to like beat up on Venom, which
didn't work.
No, it did not.
We'll get into that later, but it was not a success, as they would say in most worlds.
It didn't trick people like the Gotti thing. So
no one fell for it. And,
no soup for you.
They still made plenty of money.
Plenty.
Bit my tongue. That sucked.
What's the next news story?
So, more news from the James Gunn story. As we know, James Gunn was fired recently because of some trash that was dug up on him from many, many, many years ago.
Yes, from his old trauma days. So Disney pulled the trigger, and maybe they pulled it a little bit too quick, because within 3 months of him getting fired, it would appear that DC has acquired the rights to James Gunn. He will be potentially writing and directing Suicide Squad 2, which I can't believe still hasn't,
Still has a chance.
Yeah, why?
Who would have thought that movie would actually have a sequel? However, now with James Gunn at the helm, I kind of
maybe
feel
it has
like
a chance.
It's got a strong chance
of being an okay movie.
Oh my God. I mean, this is probably the best thing to happen to the DC universe right now, is to pull in the guy who's been making Marvel such a huge success.
I think if I checked between the two,
I got a bad feeling about this.
Guardians of the Galaxy movies pulled in like $1.5 billion between the two of them.
Yeah, they were huge.
So for Disney to make such a critical mistake and not just forgive him and keep him in the fold seems pretty short-sighted to me. What a bunch of failures.
Yep. So they screwed up big time.
Yes. So Disney, the House of the Mouse, keeping the moral high ground and screwing themselves out of some
Meanwhile,
monies.
as they start to crumble from beneath them. Oh, we made bad decisions.
We're awful at what we do.
We tried to act like the bigger people, then we didn't have anything wrong. But you look at our background, and we have all kinds of skeletons in our closet.
We're racist.
Did you ever come out and say it that way?
There's a really good South Park about the Jonas Brothers from many, many moons ago, where they make fun of Disney and how Mickey Mouse is like a total scumbag. He's like beating up the Jonas Brothers. Yeah.
Yes. I do remember that one. South Park's new season has begun. We'll just do a quick side note. First episode is ridiculously inappropriate. Hilarious, inappropriate to the max. Episode 2 and 3 just kind of fell off and didn't really do anything special.
Well,
They're just
first
lacking.
Was that about the
dead
school
kids
shootings?
Yeah, it was called Dead Kids. It was about school shootings
and the apathy.
Yeah, and how no one cares anymore, and that Sharon, I think it was Sharon, was
it's the mom.
Yeah, the mom, how she was just ragging, which is why she was so pissed off about it.
Yes.
So they went after a couple things there. So the first episode, wildly inappropriate, and then the following episodes 2 and 3 just really lackluster and not really worth their time.
One of them was what, a Me Too episode with Kavanaugh or something like that.
Yeah, but they like barely touched on it. They didn't really go after it that much. And then I don't remember what the other episode was about. It was that,
Forgettable.
lackluster.
Well, welcome back to South Park.
Welcome back, South Park.
So that leads us, I guess.
Are we going to go into the next thing that we do here, and that's reviews.
About this movie, by the way.
It really is, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Was kind of old school, classic. Simple.
Old school in the sense that they were like, we're gonna have like, well, Eminem first of all, do a like the soundtrack was hyped up.
Yeah, that's a classic thing that always happens. You
keep
with the
using
old school
the word
movies.
Classic.
Well,
does this song sound classic to you?
No, this song sounds like shit.
Yes.
But the movie itself, having a song written for the movie itself,
that includes the title of the
includes
name.
the title over and over and over again.
Venom, 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 get rid of Venom.
So Venom released 2 weeks ago, and as of now, it is up over $140 million.
Is that good though?
Considering the fact that the production was under $100 million, I'd say that
made some money.
They're making some money. They're doing very well. Some mixed reviews though. Rotten Tomatoes gives it. The tomato meter says 30% from the critics.
Certified rotten.
Certified rotten.
I will eat their faces.
So the audience, on the other hand, 89%.
So that seems to me like Lady Gaga had zero impact.
If you do the math, that is only 1% away from 90.
That is only 1%.
That is a passing score.
In
that is
most cases.
a B++ in many cases. So once again, the critics are trying to slam a series while the audience turned around and said, screw you critics, you're wrong, we're right, and we very much enjoy this film.
Well, it broke a lot of records for October. I know it debuted at 80 million, and that definitely, I think it was the all-time opening for an October weekend, especially with A Star Is Born at 43 million. So it definitely hit a lot of good notes financially. I think it's Sony's 7th largest opening ever for a Sony film. Mm-hmm. So it's
up there. I mean, it's a top 10. Top 10 counts.
It counts.
But it sounds like a lot of critics are trying to compare it to the rest of the universe, and these are two very different animals altogether.
Rest of who? Oh, you mean
the rest of the MCU?
Well, let's make a distinction. This is a Sony-owned property, not affiliated with Marvel Studios. It's a Marvel movie, but not affiliated. So it has virtually no connections to the current MCU. It's interesting too because people thought there would be a lot of connections where they might mention Spider-Man and things like that. They mentioned nothing.
Not at all.
He said
completely
one
separate.
thing.
They put him over in San Diego, so they didn't have to worry about crossing paths San Francisco, San Diego. One's a whale's vagina. One has sex with whale vaginas.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't.
But that way, you're separated now from the entire country, away from the other superhero universe. So that was a very smart play.
Well, Ant-Man is in San Francisco too, so
Yeah, but no one sees him. He's an ant.
he's an ant. They did make mention of Eddie Brock getting fired from New York early in the movie.
Which was part of the storyline. And they did a real good job here where they started a new storyline and paid homage to some things, but still made this its own character, where it's not completely tied into the comic book series, but still pays enough respect to the comic book series to not piss people off.
So you liked the movie. I will say that I enjoyed the movie, but as far as movies go, it was pretty shitty. Like if Tom Hardy single-handedly saved that movie, and if he wasn't in it,
he absolutely did.
it would be a total piece of garbage.
They did do the old tricks where everything was way too dark. The big fight,
CGI
at
shit show.
the CGI shit show at the end. The fight where you couldn't tell what the hell was going on. And they tried to be artistic about it, and they tried to make it so fancy that it's like, oh, this looks awesome, but no, it's just CGI shit show. Is most of the things usually do go into. Venom looked awesome.
When he was by himself, yes.
Venom looked awesome.
Except the only thing I didn't like about the costume was the lack of the Spider-Man symbol, which is, he just.
Well, this is also Venom in a world that doesn't have Spider-Man yet.
Correct. I understand
the
why they
Spider-Man
did it.
symbol was from the original comics, where Venom originally symbioticed with Spider-Man and then left Spider-Man and joined Eddie Brock, and that's why he kept the symbol, and that's the hatred he has for Spider-Man. Other than that, the Venom character is pretty much the same. He was never out there to go nuts and cause chaos. He doesn't want to kill people.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
The original Venom?
The original Venom.
Did you read the comic books?
Carnage was way more interested in killing than Venom ever was. Venom's main goal was Spider-Man.
He wanted to kill Spider-Man.
And there was there were casualties along the way.
Yes.
But it wasn't Venom's goal to murder and kill.
No.
He
was mostly, the best way to describe Venom from the comic book is mostly like a jilted girlfriend, like a psycho girlfriend.
Yes.
He was willing to kill people who were in the way, but he was not a killer per se.
No, he wasn't hunting people down. He wasn't going to cause chaos. He didn't have some master plan for the world.
He did want to kill Spider-Man pretty bad, though.
And that's what it was. He wanted to kill Spider-Man so bad that there were casualties along the way. So without having Spider-Man in the story, they still did a real good job of sticking to the Venom mantra and really made a strong character here, I think.
The origin story was virtually the same. There was a second shout out to the Marvel Universe where one of the pilots is John Jameson. I know it's J.J. Jameson's son.
It's Jameson's son was originally who brought the Venom symbiote back to Earth. They did a quick throw out to it where they said, that's Jameson, and then moved on.
Yeah, it really was not hung up, and they made their own origin story different from the original Spider-Man origin story, but I kind of felt all that seemed super old school, like real basic plot, kind of boring.
Sometimes you need to get back to that. I mean, you're not going to make this, groundbreaking, brand new story, unique thing all the time. You can't do that anymore.
So sometimes you just have to put out a shitty movie.
Sometimes you put out a shitty movie. Sometimes you
get lucky and put a really good actor in it to make it less shitty.
And sometimes you just got to tell the same old story a different way. And I think they did that here. They told the same old story, but in a very different way. And Tom Hardy was fantastic, and it made a good movie.
I think it made a. Okay, I would give it a B minus.
But still a B.
Score. Yeah, it's a B.
Still much better than when the critics gave it. I mean, the critics pretty much started slamming this movie from the very start.
Yeah, the critics hate the movie. But I agree. It's weird because I agree with them. Like, there's an awful chase scene. Like, it's got every cliche you could possibly think of. Like, world-ending stakes, check.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
chase scene.
The MCU, check.
The MCU doesn't always have world-ending stakes. The latest Ant-Man movie.
They did one where they didn't have world-ending stake. That was
Ant-Man.
No, Captain America.
Ant-Man did not have world-ending stakes, and neither did Captain America.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's
none of
two.
the Iron Man movies did.
There's two.
Name a single Iron Man movie that had world-ending stakes.
I guess Mandarin wasn't really world-ending, just
He was just a dick.
bent
He
on
was trying to-
domination.
He was going to take over the United. He was going to install a puppet in the United States government. How's that world-ending?
Didn't that just happen like 2 years ago when we voted in a puppet?
The Mandarin did that.
I think that's what it is. The Mandarin is everything behind our current president.
God damn it!
Mandarin put a puppet in the office. Damn it! Reality's come true.
But I just feel like the plots are a little more complicated than this one. I mean, I guess they tried.
My bad. Sorry.
What, are you trying to spoil it?
Well, no, I was going after another sound effect and I accidentally hit
Fat
that
finger.
along the way.
The critics really hate. Well, they hate they don't like what I like or what I don't like, which is.
And that's how the critics have always hated what we like.
But is it what? Okay, here's a question: was it supposed to be funny? Or was it unintentionally funny?
I think it was unintentionally funny.
Yeah,
It had its couple laughs, and yeah, I laughed a couple times during it. They did real well with that, but they weren't trying to force the laughs.
Yeah, but were they supposed to be jokes?
Probably,
You think so?
but they weren't forced. Like, you know how many times you go to a movie and you have like the jokes like that was funny, but like they made the situation to make the joke. They forced the joke where these jokes were natural. You know, the inner dialogue with yourself in any situation is going to be fun.
Well, the great part of that with Tom Hardy's performance is that he recorded all of the Venom lines himself. He did the voice, which was... So he played the two most important characters. And then on top of that, when he was working, he had them pipe in the Venom voice that he created in order for him to interact with the character. So I
It's
thought that was
almost like you
genius.
were really talking to yourself.
It seems like he was talking to himself. Yeah. Oh, strange.
Who are you talking to, Z?
What? No, nobody. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine.
Who are you talking to, Z?
I'm fine.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right.
The I felt that they shortchanged some of the other symbiotes. I just like there's a lot of pointlessness in this movie. That was what always irritates me. Well, can we spoil?
But what
can
do you
we
got to
talk
do?
about this and spoil it?
All right, so we'll spoil this.
We've come. There we go. We've come to that part of the show once again where we spoil for all of you so we can talk in more detail about this movie.
The funny thing about the symbiote is it reminds me of something that Noob-Noob once said to me.
I'm gonna eat your asshole.
That wasn't exactly what he said, but it's pretty close.
I'm gonna get up in your ass and eat your liver.
That's closer. That's much closer.
I was gonna go after Scott, but his liver's already dead.
Yeah,
There's nothing left there.
Scott's liver's not as tasty. Definitely.
It shriveled up and died,
Many years ago.
much like my little symbiote friends.
Well, that's what was annoying. Like this whole, and like stuff happened, but there was no repercussions for it. Like, so there's this doctor who decides to help Eddie, and her way of like exposing this guy, like the big bad, being like a villain, is by working with a loose cannon reporter instead of just going to the police and be like, "Yo, this dude's killing people straight up."
Yeah, I mean,
She
that
goes
makes
to
sense.
a reporter.
And she says it too. She's like, or Eddie says it, like, why don't you go to the police? And she's like, because I'm scared of them. Well, no, actually, the police will take you and your family, put them in protective custody
Yes.
if you're terrified of someone, and then chase after the guy and get a warrant and actually do
Because
shit.
Eddie Brock is not going to do nothing.
Eddie Brock isn't going to do jack shit.
Yes, and
A
then
disgraced YouTube reporter.
it was silly because he ends up like that poor woman ends up dying, and they made a point of being like, I have children, and then they're just like, kill her.
And she's dead.
Yeah,
That happens, though. Sometimes,
but Eddie Brock, his life is just peaches and cream.
yeah, his life was awesome till like the 5 seconds into the movie.
What?
They did a real good job of getting to the point pretty quickly though. They
Did not mess around.
They didn't mess around. They got to it pretty quickly, which I do appreciate that. It wasn't 20 minutes, half an hour of bullshit to kind of establish characters. They got to the point pretty quickly, and I can appreciate that.
I can appreciate the pacing. The pacing was fine. Although I will say the first act, it did still take a little bit too long to get to the symbiote. Dude, we didn't need the whole wandering. First of all, what is the point of Riot wandering all the way back from Indonesia? What was the purpose of that?
That gives you the timeline for the rest of the story to progress. Instead of assuming that people just freeze while other things happen in the world, which a lot of people complain about, they actually established a little bit of a timeline as to why the villain wasn't there right away.
What would have been the difference of just having the extra symbiote sitting in the lab and there was just a mistake and it accidentally got released or tricked someone into taking over that guy as
Because
a host?
that guy was doing it with every symbiote there. He didn't have one that was sitting there. There's no way for him to know that one symbiote
That's the point,
would
though,
have been more dangerous.
Why did they write it so that
Because
one...
it kept that symbiote separate from the other ones,
Why?
allowed him to kill a few other ones, not accidentally kill... What was the guy's name? I forget.
Riot.
Riot. Not.
He was so impressive. You don't remember
Yeah.
his name.
I know. I was thinking Chaos for a second, but that was also wrong.
It was Riot.
All right, but no, it established a timeline and kept him separate from all the rest of them, which
For
I have
what
no
reason?
problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
There was just no purpose to it.
So
How did the little girl get into the secured facility? It took Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock needed like an inside doctor
yeah, but
to let him
Eddie
inside.
Brock also didn't have the symbiote when he got in the first time.
So the little girl was just...
Had the symbiote. She just symbioted in like they do. I mean, that's not
That's
that
what they
hard
do.
to explain.
I just thought it was pointless. There was a lot of pointless plot points.
But you're talking about 30 seconds of the movie. There was no reason to complain about that. There's no reason to complain about the fact that they separated the one symbiote and made it travel across. It's you're talking about seconds out of a
Those
movie.
30 seconds could have been better served spending more time with Eddie and
No,
and the symbiote.
actually, it couldn't. It couldn't.
Oh, so they become best friends like after like 10 minutes together and a car chase where they don't even talk to each other that much. They become besties. And Venom's like, oh, I want to live up your asshole for the rest of my
no,
life.
I mean, it kind of took a
because
little
we're
longer
both
than that.
losers. Oh, I'm a loser, Eddie.
When you find a good asshole, you stick with it right away.
That's the other thing. Everybody else is dying because of the symbiote, but the two people that the plot needs it to be successful with. What about Michelle Williams? It bonds with Michelle Williams, and it's just like, I'm cool with that. No worries.
No, I
don't
mean,
kill
it
her.
was cool to show Lady Venom for a second.
It was cool, but also it defeats the purpose of Eddie dying for the middle third of the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He's
no.
literally dying, and all of his organs are being attacked and destroyed. And then Venom's like, oh, I like her. I'm not going to eat her.
Well, no, that's what takes time. So that whole thing, think about this. So Venom eats people because he wants living beings to survive. If you're
Except at the end.
if you're not eating living beings, then you're eating your host. That's kind of what that concept is.
I get the concept.
So
but
that's
then
why
at the
Eddie
end,
says-
he can eat tater tots and chocolate.
Well, everyone has their vice. It's
Oh,
like I
okay.
love alcohol. Doesn't mean it's fucking good for me. I mean, Jesus Christ.
You could survive off alcohol.
If
That
I
doesn't
could
mean it's good
survive
for you.
off alcohol, I would be a much happier person.
Yes.
But so that's why Eddie at the end comes up with, all right, you can only eat bad people because the
And
symbiote,
tater tots and chocolate.
The symbiote. Well, yeah, that's like my whiskey dessert. You know, I mean, I have dinner for my actual sustenance, then whiskey because I like it. That's why he comes up with the deal because the symbiote needs living food, so he gives it the okay to go ahead and eat bad people only. So that way, it's not eating Eddie from the inside out. Remember the line where he says,
Your liver looks really good, really tasty. I'm hungry. Find me something to eat or I'm going to eat your liver.
yeah, so if Venom isn't gorging on living organisms, it's eating Eddie from the inside out instead. However, Venom can also repair Eddie at the same time as long as he's given the food, the fuel to feed it, where he can keep him alive pretty much forever. Like when he's in the hospital and he says, I can repair that. Well, let me eat this asshole and then I can fix you instead.
Well, it's interesting because they had to struggle really to make it PG-13 because there was like some mistakes that I saw.
Really should have made it R. They should have made it R. That would have been a great R movie. And
I didn't think it was necessary, but
No,
it
that would've been
caused
great.
them to make
Although,
mistakes.
At the same time, the 10:30 at night viewing where someone brought their 10-year-old child to watch it while they filmed the entire thing on their iPad. that would have made Norristown. We love you so much.
I wouldn't wish to live in that place.
I wouldn't even eat there.
But they made
that
mistakes.
was fantastic. So yeah, towards the end of the movie, when the kid's like talking and everything else, like, oh great, this is fucking awesome. Yeah, you could have made that movie R though. That would have been a good R movie.
It would. I don't think it was necessary though, except for the fact that the very very end, Eddie is walking out after he quote unquote bites that other guy's head off.
I think he fully ate that dude
because there's no body on the floor. He ate
fully
the whole thing.
ate the dude. Yeah, he ate the whole thing. Oh, Venom can tell how your liver and intestines and pancreas and everything smells just by looking at you. He said it.
Why wouldn't he just smell you from?
He said
from
it
smelling you instead of looking at you.
He said it. Well, he said it to the characters where he actually, said brain and heart and lungs and all these tasty items to choose from while he was, holding on to the one guy.
That line is one of the worst. Is that? I guess
that line kind of sucked actually.
Does it come from the comic book though?
I don't know if that comes from the comic book.
I heard it did.
So does that line at the end before he eats the dude at the very end.
The turd in the wind.
Turd in the wind.
It's awful.
That could have been written better. I like where they were going with it. Could have been delivered better.
I just don't think there's anything you can do with anyone saying a turd in the wind. I've never seen a turd in the wind, so maybe I need to brush up.
Close my eyes, much like a turd in the wind you are.
Yes, that song.
Turd in the wind.
You can sing that on your own. I'm not joining in.
All we are is turds in the wind.
Yeah.
There's another song. I
thought it was fun
to add on to my.
I thought it was more fun than it deserved to be, and it was. I was willing to let go and go for the ride.
It definitely is a better movie than a lot of these critics fucking make it out to be.
Well, I like there's one critic who says, I'm in the minority when it comes to my fellow critics, and I actually liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I don't know who that was. Scroll down, and you can see it. Matthew Rosa, right there at Salon. I liked Venom. Hell, if it wasn't for the sloppy and formulaic script, I might have even loved it.
I kind of like this guy.
Yeah.
Although I still want to eat him.
Top-notch acting from Hardy and Williams. I don't know. I wasn't really sure. I mean,
That's a good review. I like that review.
She was, at least Michelle Williams was justified in her actions.
Absolutely. I mean, they did do a little Deus Ex Machina about bringing the fucking doctor in there and having her date the doctor afterwards. But, I mean, little things like that I can forgive in order to keep a storyline going.
Oh, yeah. It's just like she happens to be dating a doctor who can treat Eddie.
Who can actually help him out, which, whatever, that's fine. I mean, it does make things a little easier when you're not asking questions. If she randomly came into a hospital with this guy and this shit's going on, then yeah, there's questions being asked.
They could have written it that way, though. It would have been fine. It would have been like, what's wrong with him?
It would have been decent as well, but to have it go that way, that's also not that big a deal. It also, the restaurant scene allowed them to kind of smooth and get out of that a lot quicker rather than calling the cops in and causing some other chaos. Because now he can be like, well, I have to take care of this guy because my new girlfriend knows him. So yes, he's my patient, and please don't call the cops. I'm taking care of this. And it allows them to get out of that scenario a lot smoother.
I suppose.
I don't think it was too wonky.
I feel like the plot was sloppy. And the fact that they were like, oh, I'm going to go free. Like, I'm going to go take over the world with my symbiotes. Like, the whole thing where the guy's like, instead of combating global warming, he's like, I'm going to go get some symbiotes. And then we'll all live in symbiotes instead of being humans anymore. And we could go live in space.
He originally, yeah. I mean, he was looking for new places to live, and before
so we could go fuck that world up too.
Before he knew that this symbiote thing was as violent as it was, his idea was to combine with the symbiotes so humans could then survive in other planets. Because that does make things a lot easier rather than trying to find another Earth. Now you just find another planet for the human race to survive in.
Sure.
Very quickly, his mantra went from a new place for the human race to survive to fuck the human race, symbiotes rule, and that kind of happened after he got symbioted himself.
This is very convenient.
And that's what movies are. Every movie's convenient. Think about it. Every movie's convenient. Every movie's convenient. You were talking earlier about, the fact that they had to put a timeline in and had to show that chaos, whatever the riot. I can't remember that for some reason. Why you had to show the timeline of him traveling? Because the same assholes that kept questioning, well, why is Thanos just sitting on a chair for fucking 20 years? Now, why is he doing anything? They gave him a reason to not be there the entire movie rather than just sitting around and doing nothing.
Maybe Thanos was scared of
Captain
Marvel.
It's the same thing that people bitch about in other movies. You're now bitching about in this movie because they actually did a little bit of something to take care of it. You're also talking about a single character. You're not talking about this huge through the universe. You're talking about a smaller story, a smaller budget.
But why did they have to take over the world? Why couldn't it just be like, symbiotes are bad, and then they take over hosts and they hurt people? Like,
because I'm trying to remember exactly how the whole symbiote story goes, because apparently the symbiotes weren't actually violent unless they got in contact with somebody that was violent or had reason to. Like the whole Venom thing.
Spider-Man was going out in the middle of the night.
Venom might have been a banned symbiote because he actually was a little unbalanced, and that's why he wasn't part of the symbiote world. And the symbiotes didn't become violent unless they were actually combined with a violent person. Which actually kind of explains where Carnage came from, because once a symbiote combined with the criminally insane, then he went completely off the rocker. So this seemed more a more aggressive type of symbiote, but it's still along the same storylines where you have a whole planet of symbiotes, and yeah, it's about taking over, and that's what these do. Like Planet Hulk. That's what these symbiotes do. They try to take over everything. They try to reproduce and integrate as much as possible in other races. I don't remember if the storyline was as violent as it was, but it was still the same concept where the symbiotes take over everything.
Well, and here's why you're wrong. Think about this. So they already set up. So for those of you, obviously we're spoiling the movie. For those of you who saw the end credits, and we'll go into a little bit of depth.
Wrong.
They introduced Cletus Cassidy.
And who's Cletus?
They have Woody Harrelson.
Why are you shaking your head? That's awesome. I love Woody.
He's a great actor.
Woody's awesome.
He has a dumb red wig on.
Well, I mean,
he looks
you only have to have a dumb red rig for a little bit, because Carnage never goes back into Cletus. When Carnage becomes Carnage, he stays Carnage the whole time. They may or may not do that when they come around to the second movie, but still.
But just think about the stakes, because Tom Hardy did a 3-movie deal. You have your first movie where the stakes are, all these symbiotes are going to come on their asteroid and they're going to ruin the world and they're going to take over, to Carnage, who just likes killing people. And he's not going to kill everybody on Earth, but he's going to kill a lot of people.
He's going to kill a lot of people.
But that's not...
And Carnage does some fucked up things.
But what I'm saying is the stakes are not as great. And they already ruined, with Riot being able to form like sharp objects and things like that. That's you already kind of defeat the purpose of Carnage. So you diminish your sequel by making the stakes lower, and you've already given away the fact, like, that was a big shock in the comic books. When Carnage first appeared... Oh.
Someone didn't mute the music. You aren't hearing that, but we did.
Whoops-a-doodle.
A little distracting.
The so Carnage in the actual comic book is, born of Venom and bonds with Cletus and becomes Carnage. But Venom never had those skills. He was never able to make sure. He just could do the tendril thing and all those stuff. So it's kind of a shock when you find out that Carnage can make piercing knives and sharp objects and things like that.
And that's based off the insanity that Cletus has.
But Riot already does that. So you've already diminished what Carnage can do by showing Riot doing that and more, and then you diminish the stakes by taking Carnage, who's basically just a serial killer, and you have, those stakes have lowered. So you're just taking your sequel.
Carnage was more piercing and stabbing and javelins and shit like that. Riot had, a mace and big knives. They're different weapons, but that's shit that they're going to be fucking dealing with.
But I'm just saying, you diminish. You basically.
I don't think it diminishes anything.
Your hand. You don't think that's lower? It's definitely 100% lower stakes.
So, no, you're talking about it's not lower stakes. It's different stakes.
The world versus a handful of people.
And now, so that was the one thing with Carnage was Venom never liked Carnage, and there was always an inside thing, and because Carnage was part of Venom, but at the same time, he needed to destroy Carnage. So there was a lot more inside shit going on there in the Venom Carnage story than there was with this one. This was just straightforward, stop the symbiote invasion. Plain and simple. The next one with Carnage
are definitely lower.
The stakes are lower for the world, but not for Venom.
How are they not lower for Venom?
They're higher for Venom now because this is Carnage. This is now a being who's created of his own symbiote flesh who he needs to stop, but there's also the internal conflict because he is part of him, and there's this weird dynamic now that wasn't there with Riot. Carnage and Venom can also tell when they're close to each other. They can sense each other as well. So that adds another different aspect of the story.
Wouldn't Riot be able to do the same thing, considering he figured out how to get back to the lab? He didn't know where they were stored.
No, he got the patch early on. He got the patch from the astronaut early on, so he had the name. He had the name of the company. He knew where to go.
So he could read English.
Yes, yeah. As soon as they get in the mines, they can understand, because that was Venom's thing. As soon as he got in the mine, he knew of all of Eddie's secrets, and he said it too. Like, I'm in your head, and now we are two. We are one.
Man, you really like this movie.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie.
You were really into this movie.
I like the fact that they didn't ruin it completely. I like the fact that here's a character from the Spider-Man universe that wasn't a total piece of shit. And I really appreciated that.
I thought it was better than the two, like, the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Garfield.
Oh, my God, they're horrible.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was better than those. So
yeah.
It was enjoyable. And as we've said multiple times, Tom Hardy was great.
Tom Hardy's a great actor. He does well. He's done well in I think every role that I can think of that had him, I've absolutely loved. And think of the change this guy has gone through. He's played a young Picard in Star Trek to Bane in the Batman universe to Venom. I mean, you're talking about three, let alone looks, but even body types. I mean, the dude has molded into different characters so much so that you would never guess that it was the same guy.
This is very true. He also was well known for The Revenant. He was very good in that as well.
Yeah, very. I mean, the guy, he's one of those A-list actors that does not get the credit that he fully deserves.
Is he A-list? Yeah.
He should be.
He should
close. He may be considered like low A, high B, but he should be A-list actor. He's definitely more talented than a lot of these A-listers out there right now.
He's very versatile, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the first big starring ones that he's done where it was clearly him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when he was Bane, his face was covered. So,
Yeah, and he's
Couldn't tell what whose actor it was because I had the mask on my face. Do not make fun of my voice, as I am ready to rise with the fire. It makes it very difficult to eat. Noodles are okay.
very
I
difficult
can
to
eat
eat noodles.
with this mask on.
Maybe he could
I would like to have a steak
drink milkshakes.
through a straw. I need to blend my steak into milkshakes so I can eat them through a straw.
Yes, he could definitely do that.
I would have had music set up for that one, but I didn't know we were going to go in that route.
What for
Bane?
You didn't think about Bane? Come on.
Nah, I didn't think about Bane. Real fast, can we talk about the after credits scene?
Yes, we talked
my
enough about we identified the Carnage and Cletus one.
So something I'm looking forward to was in the previews beforehand is the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Which is a cool story concept. I enjoyed it when I saw it in the cartoons because Disney has touched on it in the Spider-Man series. It's going to be a total CGI movie, cartoon, computer cartoon.
It
movie.
looks a little weird though. It looked almost stop motiony. It was like little jarring.
But it kind of is, and you're also talking about multiple universes. You have the Detective Spider, whose world is completely black and white.
Spider-Man Noir.
It shows Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is more cartoonish
Spider-Gwen.
because she is, that's her world. Miles and Peter Parker are very similar looking, and then when Pig Spider shows up, he's complete cartoon.
Is it?
So they are combining.
What is that guy's name? It's not Pig Spider, is it?
Spider Pig. Spider Pig.
It's not Spider Pig.
Does whatever a Spider Pig does.
Can
I don't know,
he swing
but-
from a web? No, he can't because he's
a pig. Look out! Here comes the Spider Pig. No, they do, and they are doing it in that movie where the cartoons do contradict each other, so they do have to kind of combine them as well. So I like the look of it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun, but why?
It's Spider Ham, by the way.
Spider Ham. I like it, but I don't know why they had to add this extra credit scene at the end of Venom. I was setting you up to take it.
Which one are you talking about?
The last one. We already talked about Cletus. I'm talking about the extra credit scene at the end of the credits.
Yeah, where they did Into the Spider-Verse.
They showed a tease of the Spider-Verse.
Okay. What
Why?
was I supposed to do there? I already saw a preview of it. That's why I was annoyed. I saw a preview of it, and then I saw a tease of it, which was 10 minutes of, jokes about Peter Parker being dead.
This is neither the time nor the place for that.
I found
It really is. It wasn't the time or the place for that preview. At
was
the
an
end of Venom,
yeah.
it was an advertisement at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's not what that's reserved for. That's reserved for plot thickening storylines or little teasers or just little, or the ant at the end of Ant-Man. Things to make you giggle and say, oh, that was cool to wait for the end of that. Instead, they threw it in as an advertisement at the end of this movie, which...
It's because Sony's a bunch of jerks.
I'm making the prediction right now. That is the beginning of the end for the post-credit sequences. That's the first post-credit sequence where they turned it into a commercial for an unrelated movie.
Well, I guess they assumed if you were a fan of Venom, you'd be a fan of Spider-Man. So, I just don't understand why you would show a preview.
Take that shit somewhere else.
And then show... Because the previews were long enough. There's always 20 or 30 minutes worth of previews, which is too much.
The trailers have gotten better. There's now a couple movies I'm now excited to see that I wasn't before. I can't think of them off the top of my head.
So excited you can't remember them.
I know, right?
But you remember Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Because they had to put it at the end. You see it fucking twice
So
in that shit.
Did its job, and they implanted a virus in your brain where you're thinking Into the Spider-Verse. Do you want to see it?
There's only one person, creature, What the fuck am I again? I forget.
Parasite, symbiote.
What? Don't you call me that.
Sorry, I used the
Don't
P
call
word.
me that. That's a tough subject there.
Pussy.
Me too, motherfucker. Me too.
What do you want to see Into the Spider-Verse?
I do, but I don't need it at the end of my Venom movie.
You're just mad where they placed it.
I'm just pissed off where they placed it because it's literally that's what they're doing. They're putting advertisements at the end of the movie now. They just put a trailer at the end of a movie. This
Yes.
is going to be the end of the post-credit sequence because that's what they did. They just threw a trailer at the end of a movie. This is not a connected to this universe. Venom's not in the fucking Spider-Verse. It's live action as opposed to cartoon. It's two completely separate things altogether. Don't fucking put it there. Leave in the beginning where you have a trailer for other movies where you show that and you show fucking Bumblebee and Bumblebee. The trailer looks
thanks.
better. I'm still not interested in seeing it. You know,
With that very unattractive girl.
Leave that or that. Yeah, you hate her. You
The
really
mildly
do. Well,
unattractive
call her
girl.
ugly again. Holy shit, Z. That's horrible.
I got in trouble when I was in the theater, and I said, "Oh, look, there's that mildly unattractive girl again." Oh, yes.
People
My
start
bad.
throwing popcorn at you.
Yes. Remember, I'm that guy in the theater. Yeah. What I also thought it was kind of presumptuous that they put in a tease for a second movie that no one would get.
No.
When you didn't know if this was a movie that was right on the razor's edge of being like a giant piece of shit or being a success.
Which is why I enjoyed it because I was expecting a piece of shit and I was really pleasantly surprised.
See, but that's where I think your expectations were so low that you're like, "Oh, this is a great movie." Where I'm like, it was pleasantly
I'm
surprising.
saying I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I didn't say it was a great movie. I'm saying I enjoyed it. And I am defending
You
it
are the
because
lethal protector.
I am
of
defending
Venom.
it because the way you're taking a shit on it is the way some of these critics have taken a shit on it. No, the reasons are not valid.
I still would have rated it as a positive movie.
It's a positive movie, but I mean, there's critics that are completely comparing it to.
Yeah, but they all gave it bad reviews. I wouldn't have given it a bad review. I would have said it was a fun movie, and if not for Tom Hardy's performance, it would have turned into a disaster. But thankfully, it did not. So
Yeah,
it's
but
enjoyable.
there was critics who are completely and comparing it directly to Infinity Wars. You can't compare it to Infinity Wars. It's not going to hold up. But these are two very different movies altogether.
Well, Sony's also known for making like trash. So, you know, the last two Spider-Man movies were so bad. I can't even. The CGI on them alone was awful. The last two Spider-Man movies, and the whole thing with who's that actor that they made the Shocker? That was just such a joke. It was ridiculous. Whatever. The one with Andrew Garfield and what?
There,
Guardian.
right there.
What about it?
Here's a review for you.
They are in what? The Guardian from
Yeah.
Peter Bradshaw?
Yeah.
Okay. They are in fact one or two big gags, no real sense of fun, not compared to something like Thor Ragnarok, directed Ruben Fleischer, who made Zombieland and Gangster Squad, is uninspired. Venom is riddled with the poison of dullness.
What? Who is this guy?
I think you should go eat him.
I am gonna go rip his arms and legs off and leave him in the street to be blown by the wind like a turd. He's gonna be a legless and armless turd in the street where the wind can blow him and he can be like a turd in the wind.
Maybe Noob-Noob can blow him.
Turd in the wind.
So Zombieland, you've seen that movie, yeah?
Yeah.
I wasn't super impressed with that.
No, I
movie.
wasn't super impressed with you. It was a fun movie, though.
It was okay.
I think this is along the lines of Zombieland.
Where it had a good premise and then kind of shit the bed.
It had a good premise. I don't think it shit the bed. It had a good premise. It was fun.
I think Zombieland forgot what kind of movie it was halfway through it, but Zombieland's okay. It's just an okay movie. It's not.
People
a movie I'd go
people
back
were
and watch
singing
it.
Zombieland's praises like fucking crazy, but it was a fun movie. But it wasn't as good as people said it was.
See, okay, well let's read IGN's and then we can wrap this up.
Fuck
From
IGN.
IGN, Tom Hardy's committed performance can't overcome a painful script and indecisive direction, resulting in a film with a personality that is as split as its titular character. There are occasional moments of brilliance in the dynamic between Eddie and Venom that give a hint of what the film could have been in steadier hands, but ultimately that only made a finished product more frustrating viewing experience. See, I disagree with that.
Can we get a golf clap for this IGN guy?
I feel like his
writing
committed
there,
performance
douchebag.
did overcome a painful script and kind of like mediocre directing.
I think that review right there was just masturbation. I mean, honestly, don't write a review that long because you're an asshole. And they're putting puns in there. A personality that's as split as their titular character.
Yes.
They're fucking trying to be fancy with their writing and fucking instead of doing a review for the movie, they're trying to fucking jerk their own fucking Johnson.
How come IGN doesn't have the person who wrote it next to it?
Because no one from IGN actually wrote it. They stole it.
They won't take accountability
Because they
for
stole it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they try to put a name there, then they know who stole the review from someone else.
Everyone would know, yes.
Pretty much.
Well, I guess we beat poor Venom into a
bloody pulp.
into a shapeless
mass
amorphous
of
blob.
symbiote.
Yes, we just beat him down, unfortunately. But it's not as bad of a movie as people said. It's enjoyable. I will watch the sequel. I have no real problems with it. I like the Run the Jewels song in the soundtrack, but those guys need to learn how to write a chorus.
Yeah.
I like Run the Jewels, but come on, guys, write a chorus.
We'll figure that out.
I mean, it doesn't have to be Venom, Venom, get him,
Venom, 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 Venom.
Venom, Venom. Just keep saying Venom.
Oh my god, let's keep saying Venom over and over and over again.
When was the last time he had a hit?
It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He was non-existent for a while now. This is his chance to try and make himself relevant again.
I guess
And
so.
he throws out the Dr. Dre, so.
He had to make sure he did that.
So, if you like what you hear here today, make sure to go over to ourreviewswillkillyou.com. Go over to Instagram at ork_u and friend us there. Go over to facebook.com/ourreviewswillkillyou. Go to YouTube. We need to do something with YouTube again, I guess. Oh,
Yeah,
we
we
have been
should
posting
do
our episodes on YouTube. Did I do the last couple?
No, you did not.
So I've been slacking. I've been busy. All right, so I'll get that going again. YouTube, Our Reviews Will Kill You. You'll find us there, and we're on Vero under Our Reviews Will Kill You as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Should I do my Venom impression?
Yes, let's hear your Venom impression.
Like, hold on. You do yours first, then I'll do mine.
Come on, pussy. You can do a better Venom than me.
This is what I'll try to do. What Noob-Noob said to me.
I would like to eat, or first I would like to live in your asshole, and then I would like to eat your liver and heart. But I will keep your asshole intact because I love it so much.
You sound like Yoda after he got cancer.
So from all of us here,
To all of you at home, we love y'all. Take care.